All right. Live. For the moment, at least. Alive. And as you can see, I am at Starbucks. Starbucks, the Mall Bangkok. Anyone who wants to come and say hello, this is where I am. We may have a guest in about another hour or so, somewhere around there. I'm not sure yet, but I will know in another hour. So hopefully everybody can hear me all right. It is a sweltering morning, very, very hot. Actually, it's very humid. It's not that it's very hot, it's very humid right now. And it's been very humid the last couple of days. So yeah, the heat is upon us here, and it's just gonna get worse. You can blame it on, what do you call it? Climate, hang on a second, blanking out. Climate change. I'm not awake yet. I've only had one coffee, and that's it. And to be honest, I'm very hesitant about doing business here at Starbucks now, and I have my reasons. And I've had my reasons for quite some time, but now they're just doing some things that are just ridiculous, seriously. But let me see here. Let's get into the usual stuff first thing here. I have to say, because I haven't been doing it lately, this live stream is brought to you by my Patreon patrons. Thank you very much for those who continually have supported me for the past few years through Patreon. I appreciate it. Also the members of my website. Also the people who chuck me $1 or $2 or more through PayPal and Super Chat. I really appreciate it. You guys are the ones who help. I've got a GoFundMe link. I think it's in the description. If it's not in the description, it will be coming up to help me get back to Hong Kong. And Hong Kong, believe it or not, is still very problematic, to put it mildly. And I had planned to talk about a few things that are going on with China in this stream, but I don't know if I'll be able to get to it. So maybe the next stream I'll talk about it. But there's a lot of hardcore things going on now that some people may not know. You know, it's just one thing after another. They never cease to amaze me. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say, because I'll start getting irritated, and I don't want to get all irritated this early in the morning. It's already hot enough. I'm sweating already. It's 9:05. I was sweating. I got here at 8:30. I've been sweating since I walked out of my house because it's so humid. It was 97% humidity when I walked out of my house this morning. Right now it is 85% humidity, 81 degrees, feels like 89. But let me tell you, after you're used to being in the air conditioning, or you're used to a certain temperature here and there's no humidity, and then things start changing rapidly, it's not fun. It's miserable. I don't know how the Thais do it, but I go out, man, I start sweating immediately. It's just like Florida, where I'm from. Right now it's 81, feels like 89, low is 77, high is 94. Winds 3 miles an hour, east, southeast, and the pollution, this is what makes it even worse. The pollution's 149, which is unhealthy. It's unhealthy for anybody. I should be wearing a mask right now. I never do, which is probably going to be the end of me. But yeah, it's nasty. You can see the haze in the sky. I don't know if the camera would pick it up, but I can see it. You see the sky, it's nice and blue in the background, and you see it's not you can tell it's not clouds. So the pollution here lately has been horrible. Now, let's get to talking. Well, you know, somebody say hello maybe. That would be nice. What am I talking for? I feel like I'm talking to myself again. Which, you know, I will talk to myself sometimes. Yeah, well, I'd rather it was 10 Fahrenheit than 97% humidity, to be honest. At least for a short period of time. I mean, you know, being in that cold all the time, too much for me. What are you gonna do? You know, you just live with it. You live with the heat, you live with the cold, not much you can do, although the climate change people would say, oh yes, there's plenty we can do. I'm still not convinced by that whole argument, but stock up and check out their walk-in freezer. Yeah. I'm sure they'll like that. I don't go to Macro, to be honest. I just don't go. I don't see the purpose of it. Their prices are not that good most of the time. And you know, if I need something in quantity, most of the time it's toilet paper, tissue paper, you know, paper towels, whatever, stuff like that. I just, you know, doesn't do much for me. But what I was going to get at, Starbucks. Starbucks is pissing me off. They are pissing me off, okay? Let me see something here. I'm just going to read a couple of things. What happened to the list? Oh, okay, read the essay. Starbucks is the largest coffee chain in the world. Now, this was written a couple years ago, I'm assuming. Let me see here. Yeah, it doesn't even come up. Labor disputes, opening without planning permission, shark fins. I didn't know about this. I guess, okay, all right. So, yeah, the war on Christmas. You know, listen, I was just thinking about this a couple seconds before I went live here. You can't keep all of the people happy all of the time. You're going to piss people off, and you just have to say, oh, well, which, you know, all right, they've already pissed me off about their prices. So there's not a whole lot I can say about that, a whole lot I can do about it. But I think the people here and their manager know how I feel just because I just shake my head. Tom, how's it going? What's happening? But you know, I walked into Starbucks today and I see this, right? I want a water. I see this and I thought, I've never seen this bottle before. Where is the Minute bottle? Now, one of the things that they do is they have a bottle of water. It's Minute. It's called Minute water, and they have Avion. Now, Avion is about $2 a bottle, which you would think, oh, well, that's not that expensive. But when water here is like 7 baht, which is what? That's about 25 cents, we'll say, 20 cents. Okay, I understand. Listen, I didn't have a problem with the 20 baht. I was like, whatever, you know. Because most of the time I'll bring my own bottle of water. I carry my own bottle of water with me. If I'm going to be out for a period of time, I usually bring 1 bottle of water. Now, the thing is that their Minute used to be 15 baht. Not long ago, it was 15 baht. They raised the price to 20 baht. I went, okay. So now what do? Now they have this. They have branded their own water, which is, who knows where it's from. It's probably a lower quality than Minute. And guess what? They raised the price again. This bottle of water is 25 baht. Now you would think, okay, well, it's at Starbucks. That's not a bad price. No, it's not, but they just raised the price 20%. 20%. 25% rather, sorry. I don't have any water, and I didn't want to drink coffee from here because they already raised the price on that again. So when is it going to end? It probably isn't, because I've read here that boycotting Starbucks probably doesn't do much good. Let's see here. 5 reasons we think Starbucks has nothing to be proud of. I'm just looking at this article I found on the internet. Starbucks uses non-organic milk from factory farms. Starbucks peddles mostly non-organic GMO junk foods and drinks. Well, that's true. I mean, rarely do they have anything decent. Yeah, I wonder why. It's probably because they're raising their prices and people are paying more money for it. They're just like, oh, it's only $5. No, it's only $5. That's 25% more than what the price was before. Now, imagine I'm selling a car for $5,000, and I say I'm going to add 25% to that, and you're going to have to buy it from me. If you want it, you got to buy it from me. People are going to be pissed off. Now, the thing is now I know, and I'll bring my own water. I didn't bring my own water today because we have the big bottles of water at my house. And I'm like, I'm not going to bring a bottle. I just get a bottle of water there. Okay, well, guess what? They lost my business. I will stop at 7-Eleven. If I don't have any bottled water at home and I just have the big bottles, I will stop at 7-Eleven. And I will buy a little 7-baht or 6-baht or whatever I can find bottle of water that is just as good. The whole bottled water thing is a bunch of bullshit, in my opinion, as it is. A lot of the water that you can get in Bangkok, you can drink it. And you aren't going to get a stomach illness. You're not going to get sick. You're not going to die. Go brush your teeth in Bangkok. You think none of that water goes down? You can drink the water. Now, if I was going to drink it all the time, I would probably attach a purifier just to be safe. Listen, when it comes down to it, I look at coffee as there's the gourmet coffee that is truly good, and there's everything else. There's 2 kinds of coffee. Illy, Lazada, high quality, Jamaican Blue Mountain. There's coffee like that, and then there's everything else. So, I don't drink generally big cups of coffee. There's a reason for that, and that's because they get their beans when they're younger. This is what I've been told by somebody in the coffee industry. They get their beans. They don't get the beans when they're fully mature, and where they have a little bit richer flavor. And then what they do is they almost burn them so that you can't tell, but the beans are young, because the flavor is not as good. But still, the flavor is not as good. And I don't believe that their coffee tastes the same all the time. But I don't believe it's any better than, it's no better than Cafe Amazon. And Cafe Amazon is catching up to them. Now let me see here. Let's see here. The local market. I'm reading this article here about how in 30 years ago, and when I first came here, this was how it was. There was nowhere near the plethora of coffee shops when I first came here that there are now. Now, you can't throw a dead cat. You can't throw a cat without hitting a coffee shop. That's how close together the coffee shops are. There's probably 50 coffee shops just in the mall alone, or places that you can sit and have a coffee. It used to be there was the traditional Cafe Baran, which is the traditional coffee made like now it's made. People think it's this big thing, but this is how it's been made for quite a long time. They make it with a little what do you call, like a cheesecloth or whatever. And then there was instant coffee, Sam Nai Nun, which is 3-in-1, which has the sugar, the creamer, and the coffee all in one little package. And so now they got Tim Hortons is going to open up here, which I've heard good things about, but I don't really know about it, and I don't really care. to be honest. There's enough coffee here, and I'll get my own damn coffee. But let's see here. I believe that Cafe Amazon, has outpaced Starbucks in sales by offering more affordable prices. I can go to Cafe Amazon and get an espresso, which I'm drinking less of. So this is not that it is so important to me alone. I'm not complaining for me. I'm complaining about this in general. I'm ranting about this in general because I think it's a sign of our times. And I sent out a photo yesterday to some people of this elephant. I got it from Longhorns. He sent it. And I sent this out because what it is you got a big elephant, a mama elephant, walking, and then the baby elephant is right behind her. And you can see that the big elephant, the mama elephant, is getting ready to take a dump. And why I mean you can see this, you can see the giant bunghole opening up and getting ready to drop a load. And then the next picture, the second picture, shows the load on top of the baby's head. And I sent it out with a little caption, they're always shitting on the little guy. And I think now that things have changed from, they're always changing, but if you think about how things were in the old days, it's like you want to call a bank, you call the bank, somebody answered the phone, you talk to them, you got one-on-one service. Now it's, please press 9, please press 3, please press 4, and then it's like, we're sorry, we at this moment there's nobody to serve you. You get that kind of stuff. Things have just, in my opinion, they've gone downhill. Service has gone downhill, prices have gone up, and I don't particularly like paying 25 baht for water when it used to be 15. But if you have to, you have to. I understand that. But now for them to rebrand their frickin' water and then raise the price, they don't even put it at the same price, as if their water is better and more worthwhile than Mineral. It's not. So I'm giving the big to Starbucks. Now I'm supposed to meet someone here. He may be here at 10 o'clock or so, which is why I'm here, which is why this is an easy place to meet up with people. But I think I'm going to change my meeting place. I'm going to find another way. One of the problems, though, is that Starbucks is one of the only places open really early, unless you go to a little mom and pop place around the area. So it makes it difficult to meet with someone early or to set up early, which is why Starbucks is good. And that's about the only reason. And they got comfortable chairs. Listen, this chair right here is a metal chair. I don't feel any discomfort. I don't really care. Got the same chairs over at Burger King, and the quality of their coffee is not that good. What I will say is that the quality doesn't change. It's always basically the same, which is, it's a cup of freaking coffee. That's about it. And okay, they have some of the little foo-foo drinks that are quite tasty. And that's one of the reasons why, when you look around, you see fat Thais everywhere. And, say what you will about me. I've been the same for a long time. I'm still, I got a gut. I'm still a pretty big guy. I've always been a big guy. Even when I was lean, I was a big guy. Big with my shoulders are big. I don't care about that. That's not the point. The point is that you got all these places, and Starbucks is just one of them, that are making things, they seemingly make things better, but really they're not. I remember when there was only one Burger King, and you used to have to travel. I would travel to Petchbury because I'd go, I want one of those. Their burgers are so much better than McDonald's. I don't want to eat that shit. I'm gonna go to Burger King and have one of those, what are they called, the flame broiled burgers. And I would actually go. Listen, and here, I haven't even got into the depths of Starbucks and what what's going on with them. I mean, I'm looking here, criticism of Starbucks. U.S. military viral email. Yeah, this was about Starbucks possibly stopping to supply the military with coffee donations because the company did not support the Iraq war. This is another thing. Listen, keep your political views. I mean, personally, if somebody asks me, hey, who did you vote for, or what do you believe in, I'm going to be like, it's none of your fucking business. Seriously. At this point, I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know, I know a lot of people who, they're like, I don't talk about my political beliefs or religious beliefs. Yeah, none yet. And you know, the thing is that I'm online here and people want to talk about it. I'm talking about something that a lot of people, they don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about politics or religion or gender, which is another subject I'm going to get to today. Oh my goodness. Drag queen story time. I didn't know anything about this until yesterday. I didn't know anything about it. But I'll get to that in a few minutes. You see, Starbucks takes public positions. The company supports the legalization of same-sex marriage. Why does it matter what they support? You know why? Because these freaking organizations go to them and say, we want you to support us. Can you support us? Will you support us, or are you supporting the other side? And then they have to make a decision. And then instead of saying, we're not going to support anything, we're not involved in this shit, they don't want to do that. Oh, God. Yeah, you know, I mean, that's the thing. And then here you are, when you got guys walking in and they don't want to buy anything. And then the guy goes, hey, listen, you've been here an hour, you got to buy something. Oh, no, this is a racial thing. Okay, whatever. Maybe it was a racial thing. I don't know, because I don't remember everything about that case. But the bottom line is, if I have a store and I'm selling shoes, and you come in there and you drink my water from the free water and coffee dispenser, and you just sit there, and you, after an hour, you haven't bought a pair of shoes, you're not even looking at them. So what, I can't kick you out? This is the problem now. Nobody wants to stand up and speak what's on their mind. And then if they do, they get completely shit on by these bunch of pussies out there. These snowflakes. And that's what they are. Yeah, exactly. It used to be called loitering. Oh, but you can't call it loitering now. I mean, I just saw the thing... what was this? Let me see here. There have been incidents with Starbucks who serve... Yeah, I mean, like, how can they refuse to serve law enforcement? Fire those people who refuse them. Police are human beings. They make mistakes. They do bad things. They also do a lot of good things. And contrary to the Hong Kong police, who I am forever giving shit about, most of the police that I've dealt with in the United States and even in Europe have always been decent to me. Some of the Hong Kong police have been decent to me, and some of them have been complete assholes who just are throwing around their power and think they can say and do whatever they want, and they get away with it. Well, they're getting away with it now, and I'm going to talk about that later, because there's some things that have come to light, and you know, that remain out there that show just how political things are and how people's rights they seem to mean even less now. And I'm not one of these guys, like I say, I'm not one of these tree huggers. I don't go out and I don't want to, save the whales and say, okay, do I think people should be killing whales left and right like the Japanese? No, I don't. Am I going to go over there and stop it? Probably not. It's probably not going to happen. You know, because I've only got enough time. I've only got enough time in my life to do certain things. I mean, I've got time. You know, if you think about it, you break up your time in a day to sleeping, eating, sleeping, shitting, right? Screwing, spending time with your family, and then guess what? You also have whatever work it is you do, whether it's you're a YouTuber, you are a firemen, policemen, whatever. That's another part of your day. So the amount of time that most people have is limited to dedicate themselves to things like save the whales, which, hey man, I'm not for slaughtering whales for, so that people can eat whale blubber, but if it's in Alaska and this is how they've done it for hundreds of years, who are we to say that you shouldn't do it? There's a lot of, without getting into it too much, some situations are not so black and white. I will say that. And I'm not talking about the whale issue. In fact, I don't know how I got on the whale issue. But anyway, back to Starbucks. Listen, they got these thick plastic bottles. How about they make them a little thinner like Minute, and they lower the price by $5. And while I dare say that I throw my stuff away and I recycle my bottles, at this point I think that there needs to be another way, which is use bigger bottles, use a different material, whether it's glass or whatever. But when it comes to Starbucks, like you were saying about the carbon footprint, it's just disgusting. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I really have a problem now, because I've said it before. I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. They're charging for butter. They won't butter my bun, or whatever it was I said. Butter my croissant. They're going to charge me 15 baht for a pat of butter, or whatever it was. They were going to 5 baht or 15 baht, whatever it was. That irritated the hell out of me. And they raised the price of the coffee. Well, yeah, water is that is another major issue, and like in northern India, the water problem is huge. If you don't have money, a lot of people aren't going to be drinking water. Now, what people do drink, or what they did drink in the old days, was beer, because the beer would last. They drink warm beer. They drink ale. And I'm not opposed to that either. Listen, give me a nice bottle of ale to drink. That's fine with me. I mean, I'd be drinking it right now. I don't care if it's breakfast, lunch, it doesn't matter to me. Well, that's another story. And this is why I get irritated. Now, while I'm on the subject of big companies, big business, and how they're pissing me off, Jono and I, the other day we did the little photo shoot thing and everything, and some of the portraits I think came out pretty good. I don't know yet. I haven't seen some of them, but we took a quick look at them and they looked pretty good. But we were talking about Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Lightroom, Adobe Premiere, Adobe this, Adobe that, Adobe this. And why it is just shipped to Indonesia. Why it is that people are starting to, India's water supply, check that out when you're bored. Yeah, okay. Sounds like a good idea. But Adobe. Now, I don't use Adobe anymore. I use Luminar. I use Luminar 4. Now, I don't do all that much editing most of the time. When it comes to photography, maybe my photos, I sharpen them a little bit if they need it. I saturate them a little bit. I change the exposure just a little bit. Nothing hardcore. So I don't really need Photoshop, but I always had Photoshop. And there was a time when I just had the Photoshop on my computer. I had paid for it, and I had it. And then something happened, and I don't know if I lost the hard drive, crashed or whatever it was. The computer took a dump, and I got one of the cracked versions of Photoshop. Here in Thailand, you can get them all over the place. They're 150 baht. They're about $5. And I didn't mind that. Listen, I don't feel guilty. I'm like, whatever. They're selling them here. I'm using them. It's just for my own use. Blah, blah, blah. Yada, yada, yada. whatever. And then I decided I'm going to go legit. So I started paying them. Now, I wanted to buy it outright, but it was a little bit expensive. And I was like, do I really want to do this? Well, then I noticed that it became harder and harder. You know, by the time I'm thinking it over, by the time I got to buying it, it was like, oh, you need to pay $10 a month or whatever. And you get the little photo package, which is like you get mobile, Lightroom, you get Photoshop. Okay. But it always pissed me off every month when that payment time came and I saw that it got deducted. Because I'm thinking, what the hell am I getting? I don't even use this thing that much. Even when I have photos, a lot of the time I can edit it with something like AC/DC, or just in Mac, you can edit with your in the preview mode. I thought, I don't have to, I really don't need it. And then I started thinking about how much money I had spent over the past 5 or 6 years on Adobe and how much it's made me, which is fuck all. So I decided to cancel it. I got the Luminar, and Luminar works fine. And now I'm thinking about it, and I thought to myself, maybe I'll get Adobe Premiere. I wonder how much that costs. Can I buy it outright? And I thought, okay, so what's the deal? If you want to buy it, it's something like $10 a month or $20 a month. But if you want to get it and you get like the photo stuff, the same stuff I had before, it's like $20 a month. I'm like, $20 a month. I'm like, do I really need this? No, I don't. And the fact that they have turned their model into, you can't just buy their program for $99. No, it's, you want to buy one program, you want to buy Final Cut Pro, it's $300. $300. You want to buy Adobe Premiere, I don't even, how can I check? Oh, let me see how much it is. How much is Adobe Premiere? Yeah, see, you can't just get a, okay, here we go. Adobe Premiere, $20.99 with an annual plan, or $31.49 on a month-by-month basis. A full year subscription paid up front cost $239.88, which works out to $19.99 a month. $20 a month. Now, it is a cost of doing business, but really, to me, I'm sorry, all their advances and everything, it's not worth it. I'd rather pay $75 for a program that I get and I can use it forever than to do what they do and what they require, which is to pay month to month. I don't want you having that information month to month. That's bad enough. I've already talked about it. If it wasn't for me being a YouTuber, if it wasn't for me being involved in photography and videos, I wouldn't be on social media. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I don't care if people like my videos. I don't care if people like my photos. I don't, it's nice if they do, but if they don't, oh well. Do I like them? If I like them, I like them. Most of the time, I don't like my stuff. Very seldom do I like something, truly go, wow, I really like this. I can't believe I did that. That doesn't happen very often. I mean, you're talking about like 1 in 100 maybe, where I say, wow, nice. So, maybe that's the same mentality that some of these companies have. Hey, we don't give a shit if people don't like we raise the price. We don't care if we charge $300 for software, but you could get some free software that doesn't do as much. But you could get some free software that does stuff, and, everything costs. Everything. It all costs. And sometimes, like in the case of Starbucks, to me, it's just ridiculous. Some of the prices they charge are just ridiculous. That's my point. Now, let me see something. Yeah, this whole, now, this is the thing. The other day I saw this video, while I'm on the subject of the, what are they called? Drag queens? drag queen story time. And is this supposed to be a joke? I mean, seriously, to me, it's like, you know, do I really want a drag queen telling me a story? I don't. So why do little kids want it? Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. RuPaul is a drag queen. I don't even know what to say about this. It's just so disgusting to me. You know, I've talked about the whole thing here with the lady boys, the transgenders, whatever. I don't even know. They got so many terminologies here. Honestly, I am oblivious to some of the phrases. I looked up. Where's it at? I looked up LGBTQ. Now, didn't it used to be LGB? I don't even remember what B is for. I thought it was binary, but it's bisexual. LGBTQ. And then I thought the Q was for queer. Well, I guess it is for queer, but it's also for questioning, as in you don't know what your gender is. You don't know what your sexuality, what you want to be called. So I just did a little research and I looked at a couple little videos about this subject. Now, I should say, you know, when I was in Hong Kong, I ran across these guys from Rebel News. Now, they're out there busting their ass. They're running around. They're trying to get stories. One of them was the boss, and the other one was from like Canada. He was a younger guy, but he's still working very hard, trying to get the story or whatever. And much more news-like than me. I mean, they're completely different. You know, they're actually set up like, oh, I can't even, Mr. Mitch, are you trying to mess with my head? You're gonna make my head spin. Seriously. You know, hang on one second here. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna make my head spin. Because this kind of stuff is, it's beyond me. It's completely beyond me. But I saw this guy, and he's in front of a courthouse in Canada. And I don't know what this guy's name is. Let me see. My preparation, or lack of it. What is this? Is this the one? Oh, yeah, this is the one. This is pretty funny. And then I'll get into the whole drag queen thing. Okay, there is a person who is a transgender activist named Jessica Yaniv. Biologically, that person is a male. And he tried to force female immigrant beauticians to wax his male genitalia. Basically, they call him the Wax My Balls transgender. What I saw was a little video of the guy, and I met this guy. He'd remember me. I remember him. Obviously, he'd remember me. Both of these guys would remember me. I'm still connected to these guys through I don't know what it is. What is it? WhatsApp, I think. But anyway, he's out in front of this courthouse. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, they're still stewardesses to me. Air hostesses. Yeah, they're waitresses. The chance of them ever saving you is pretty slim. But anyway, he was out in front of this courthouse. He had tried to get in. Now, he kind of played it up a little bit. Oh, I tried to get in, and they are not allowing me. Under the amendment and this law, I'm supposed to be able to get in, and the police are not letting me. And okay. He's asking this Jessica chick, whatever, guy, will you be pleading guilty? Well, I guess the thing got pissed off and started saying, go, go, get away from me. And then it looks like, allegedly, this Jessica Yaniv, who was a big lady, if you want to put it that way, big thing, big old woman. I mean, you know, pretty good size. Well, I mean, attendant is demeaning. How about server? Wouldn't server be demeaning? I'll be your server today. Isn't that demeaning? If you really want to put it, if you want to be that sensitive, Jesus Christ. And I don't believe in God when I'm saying that. Anyway, so this thing assaulted him. Yeah. I mean, this thing would go into salons and basically say, I want you to wax my nuts. And they'd say, no, we're not going to do that. And he'd be like, okay, I'm suing you. And so he did. So it's a big thing in Canada, apparently. But he also assaulted this guy. And this is a young guy, you know. I mean, I don't know, he's got to be 25, 30 years old. He's not all that old. And you can tell he's a little, he ain't me. If this guy said to me, you know, you go, and he came at me, I'd hit him. I'd crack him. You know, on the way in, I'd make sure I hit him with a nice right hand or an uppercut or something. I'd make sure that I whack this dude. Because the guy's getting aggressive and physically trying to assault you. That's when you defend yourself. Not that I condone these actions. But, you know, he's like going, oh, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, you fucking crack the dude. Now, he still might have got his ass kicked. I don't know, but... so there now apparently my footage of Yaniv's testosterone-fueled fit of madness went viral on social media and garnered international news coverage. Well, it got my coverage. Probably the reason why the Royal Canadian Mounted Police finally seem ready to enforce the law, even if it's too late for Yaniv's other victims, especially the immigrant women he targeted through his infamous ball waxing scheme. Yaniv could face 5 years in prison, and while he calls himself Jessica, he is still a biological male. Okay, nothing wrong with that. You know, if I want you to start calling me Tina, well, my name's Tina. I can call myself whatever I want. They do that in Thailand all the time. You know, her name is Pornsawan or whatever, and she goes, you know, she's saying to people, you know, my name is Joanna. Whatever. Call the person whatever they want to be called. I don't have a problem with that. It's when legally you get into a legal situation where it's like, okay, he's biologically a male and he's going into a female's restroom saying, hey, listen, I identify with being a female. I have the right to be in here. No, you don't. You got a dick. You are a male. As long as you have one, you are a male. In my opinion, if you're born with one... Now, I'm not talking about the people who, they're born in, what do they call them, hermaphrodites or whatever. You know, I can't even keep up with all these terminologies. I don't know, what is binary? I don't know what that is. I didn't even know what LGBTQ... What the hell? See, I can't even say it. LGBTQI. What's I for? Intersex, which means does not fit the... typical male-female body. Okay, so in other words, does that mean they're a hermaphrodite? Does that mean that they are not sure yet? If, you know, like they have a little tiny thing that doesn't look like a male genitalia? I don't know about this, you know, like, hang on a second. Let me see something here, because I got to double check on this because I can't even keep up with it all. A hermaphrodite is an organism that has a complete or partial reproductive organs and produces gametes normally associated with both female. Okay, so it's both. Hermaphrodite is a male and a female. Okay. Now I understand about these things. If you are something that, see, I don't even know how to say that. Oh, okay. The word intersex has come into usage for humans since the word hermaphrodite is considered to be misleading and stigmatizing, as well as scientifically suspicious and clinically problematic. I don't understand that. Listen, you think intersex doesn't make people go, what the fuck is intersex? A rough estimate of the number of hermaphroditic animal species is 65,000. Percentage of animal species that are hermaphroditic is about 5%. I don't know how many of these are humans. This is the thing. All right, whatever. We're getting too deep into this here. Androgen. What is this? I can't even. Gynandromorph. Contains male and female characteristics. Isn't that what a hermaphrodite is? I just don't get all this. Call me naive. Now, here's the thing. Listen, if you are that way because nature made you that way, okay, that's the way it is. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm not talking about somebody like that. Through no doing of their own. What I'm talking about is people who, they purposely do this, and then they expect, I don't even care if they do it, I couldn't care less. Who cares? You can be whatever you want. You can have sex with whoever you want. I don't care. It doesn't matter. And people shouldn't care. Let them do whatever they want. As long as it's not hurting other people. It's when the legalities come into play that it gets problematic. When you look on a driver's license, you were born a man. You're a man. You're a male. I'm sorry. I just don't, I can't comprehend anything more than that. Call me what you will. But to me, it's very simple. You're born with male parts, you're a male. Now, if you decide you want to cut it off and you want to be considered a female, okay, you can be considered a female by your friends and your family or whatever. But when it comes to legal issues, you were born a certain way. That's what you are. I always say it. Listen, I want to be Superman. It doesn't mean that I'm jumping off of buildings and flying. And that, the universe has to say, okay, because you want to be Superman, we're going to allow you to fly. You think you're a bird, so we're going to let you have wings. No, it doesn't work that way. It's not that simple. And I know it is simplifying things. But when it comes down to it, it's like, it is simple. Now, the drag queen thing is along the same lines. But would you want your children, your little 5-year-old kid, do you want your 5-year-old kid hearing some drag queen say, well, I had a double mastectomy because I was a woman and I want to be a man, and so I had a double mastectomy, and now what I have down below, I'm not going to talk about. And the kids are like, what the huh? Kids are confused enough. And one of the things that I was talking about with somebody else was, if you're under 18, you are legally not allowed to drink alcohol in the United States. I don't know, it's 21 in some states, I think. I don't even remember. But anyway, you have a certain age to be able to drink. When you think about it, why is it that people do not let their kids grow up to be 18 before or 21 before they're mature enough to make a decision about getting their private parts changed? What's up with that? I mean, think about that. You can go off. You can't go to war. You can't drink, but yet a little 8-year-old kid can go, Mommy, I know I look like a boy, but I want to be a girl. Okay, well, we're going to go talk to doctors and we'll start dressing you up as a little girl. Sometimes I think you have to say, listen, I'm sorry. I know you think you want that. And if you do, okay, when you get older, you can be whatever you want. But right now, you're in my house. You're born a little boy. You know, you want to dress up, you want to do all those things. That's up to you, but you're not getting changed. We're not going to turn you into a little girl. I don't get that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Am I just, you know... Am I misguided? Am I just old? Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard. You have a great day as well. You know, at Starbucks, oh, this guy's got to do this right in front of me. Thank you very much. Come on. I'll wait a second until he moves on down the road. He's definitely somebody you don't want to mess with. At least not when he's got that thing in his hands. You can see the signs up now, no more smoking here. All right, let's see here. Where are we at here? Am I missing something here? When you have, listen, the New York City Library. Let me look at my notes here. I want to make sure I get this right. So basically, the picture you saw, maybe a guy would go through a change to escape. I don't think that really matters. I don't know. Maybe it does, but why would they do that? I mean, that's just, to me, that's a huge extreme. It's like, I don't want to go into the military, so I'm going to change my sex. Fangulo, man. Man up. Listen, I'm sorry. And I'm trying not to swear, but this is the only way I know how to put it. I don't view myself as some tough guy, okay? I really don't. I try not to put myself in positions where I have to be tough, because I'm not all that tough. You know, mentally, all right, I'm tougher now that I'm older, but physically, I'm not as tough as I used to be. And I never was, one of the guys. I'm not Mickey Ward. I'm not Arturo Gotti kind of tough. I'm not like that. At least I don't think I am. I don't know. Never been tested that much. But the world is full of a bunch of pussies. Sorry, pussies. The world is full of a bunch of pussies nowadays. Bunch of little snowflake pussies, lightweights. And, I always remember there are people who think because you are somewhere and there is a law, that law is going to protect you, and it should. But if you go and talk a bunch of shit to somebody's face and you jump in their face and you start yelling and screaming, this is what I mean. You got the guy there in Canada who, he's got this Jessica Yaniv attacking him. And he's going, don't do this, the law, where's the police? Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I mean, I understand you're in a tough situation, but that's the time where you gotta man up and have some balls and crack the dude. And go, listen, I got attacked, I'm defending myself. And then you put the law to work. Anyway, New York City Library, where's it at? Yeah. New York City Library, they've had drag queen story time, and now, where's it at here? In Australia, what happened to him? There's no money in coffee anymore. Guatemalans driven to U.S. migration. And you wonder why people grow opium plantations. What? Let me see this here. Hang on. I was looking for this. What happened to it? There's no more money in coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee. 5 reasons to boycott Starbucks. Criticism of Starbucks. Here. Petitions put on Brisbane Council page. Call to scrap drag queen story time. 2 petitions have been uploaded to Brisbane City Council's website calling for a library program involving drag queens reading books to children to be scrapped. This was just yesterday, okay? The petitions, one of which has been signed by more than 600 people, make inaccurate and offensive, oh Jesus, statements about the LGBTIQ plus community, and one demands the council apologize for allowing the reading events to take place. It follows an incident at the Brisbane Square Library in which an LNP-affiliated university group gate-crashed a Rainbow Families Queensland event and confronted 2 drag queens who were reading books to children. Lord Mayor Adrian Shinner said on Thursday morning he was not aware of the petitions and would need to read them before making any decisions. We support a diverse and tolerant community. Okay, I understand wanting to have a diverse and tolerant community. One of the petition claims drag is highly offensive to females and that medical experts warn of the danger of confusing children about their biological gender. You think? I mean, LGBTI, listen, I don't have anything against these people, and you know, if people are offended by them reading a book, okay, well, you know, maybe you shouldn't be offended. However, when you start reading to young, impressionable children who are incapable of understanding this and making educated decisions, their brains are not formed enough, and you may think that they're smart, they may know a little bit about what is what, but you think about it. When you were 15 years old, 16 years old, whenever it is you first got experience to sex, you had your first sexual experience, what did you know then, and what do you know 30 years, 40 years later? One of the gate crashers was found dead. Oh God. In my view, these petitions should not have been approved for publication as they are disrespectful and offensive. I request both e-petitions to be removed immediately as they contain language which is offensive or likely to be offensive to members of the public. And do you think it's not offensive to... I personally do. I saw a video where these 2 men in drag, they had like, you know, the big hairdo, fake wigs, they had beards, and they're talking to these kids, and these kids are sitting there going, kids didn't really know. And then, thank you, that's nice. Without that noise, it's much nicer. He's doing a good job, though. I think he's done. Anyway, the kids, you know, I watched another video, and this was the one where the guy well, I don't know what it is, girl, was born as a lady, born as a female, but had a double mastectomy to get rid of her breast, and she said, I have scars now on my chest, and they were like going, and they were just sitting there going, are you a lesbian? Are you, I mean, it's confusing to me. And I may not be a rocket scientist, But if it's confusing to me, don't you think some little 6-year-old kid is going to be like going, "What, mommy? They don't look right. What happened? What kind of animal are they?" I mean, that's what they might ask, you know. Are they different from us? Yeah, they're different. And, you know, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's okay to be different. But when you start getting them involved in the public, and I will say something. Longhorns knows about this. There used to be, I still to this day don't know what it is. It was kind of like, you know, Pat. I don't even know. Could they get away with that on Saturday Night Live? Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you remember, but there was the. See, I don't even know what to say. There was the he/she, and its name was Pat. Now I have to say that watching this guy from Rebel News, the Canadian guy, he was talking about this Jessica Yaniv, and he said she, and he didn't know what to call her or him. He was making mistakes because he wasn't sure. What do I call it? He was confused. But anyway, here at Starbucks, quite some time ago, there used to be this person who worked here. And for the life of me, I couldn't tell it was a he or a she. I had no idea. And you know, it didn't really bother me in the sense that it's minding its own business. It's just minding its own business, doing its little job. They never let it work the cash register. They never let it interact with the customers. And all it did was, like, there's a little kid that runs around, a little guy, he's darting in and out. What they do is they pick up all the trays of used food, you know, they clean up. They wipe down the tables. That's it. That's all that it did. Never, ever worked with customers. Now, the one place where I do see a lot of interaction between the transgenders, I guess, the lady boys, is in the makeup department. They always have them there because some of them, you know, sometimes you look over and you go, is that I'm not sure. And you're going, well, I don't think that's a woman. And supposedly because they can pull it off, they make good makeup salespeople. I don't know. I don't know what the mentality is about that, because, you know, I'm not involved in that whole scene. And, you know, listen, nothing against any of these people. I can communicate with them. I can talk to them. I don't have anything against them. It's when you start pushing this onto other people. It's just, it could be, for me, you might as well just insert religion into it as opposed to sex or gender or sex education, which is what these people are teaching the kids, is sex education, to help them to understand that there is more than just male and female. Okay, listen, there's frogs with 5 toes instead of 3. I mean, you know, okay, we know about it. It's in a book. Yeah, there are sometimes frogs that have, instead of 2 toes or 3 toes, they got 7. You know, there's kids who they're born and they got 6 toes or whatever. Okay, that happens. I understand. Okay, from that context, I understand. But to have to go and tell them all your sexual details, it's wrong. Flat out wrong. I do not approve. So that's my little rant for the day. Rants is mild working. Gennaro, you have missed out so much. I have to tell you, because she was working the other day. Haven't seen Smile in a while. Right now, Preo is working with the manager. His name, I think, he calls himself Ken. This is what I mean. You know, he can have whatever name he wants. My name in Thailand is Rhino. I am Rhino Malin. From now on, I shall hereforth be known as Rhino. My name is Rhino. What's yours? Henceforth, I am known as Rhino. Or I'm 007. I'm 008. Well, I thought, I'm not sure, and he may still show up. I thought that Jono was going to show up here at 10 o'clock. I don't know that he will be. He's a little slow off the mark sometimes, you know. He's got to have his call. He's just like me. He doesn't do well real early in the morning. The only reason I'm here is to do the stream. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, you can see behind me, that is not Smile. Oh, God. I don't even want to get into this. I just looked up. I'm looking at the... I typed in Canada Rebel News transgender jail to try to find the... I don't remember even the guy's name or anything that reported this. I just remember it's Rebel News. So there's a big shout out to those two guys. Keep working hard. Keep doing what you're doing. But when I did that, I see Trudeau promises to house trans inmates based on gender, and then right above it, it says Canada's prison system overhauls transgender inmate policy. Violent male convicts claiming to be trans are terrorizing women in all-female Canadian jails. This is what I mean. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't even want to get into this. This is really hardcore stuff. This is much deeper than just joking about it. And what is GBI? Grand Valley Institute in Ontario. They currently have 3 trans inmates here, and I use the term trans loosely here because they are openly telling the other female inmates they are not really trans. They are only at GBI to have sex with the females. So now they're handing out the morning after pill to female prisoners, which, when you got to do that, you're doing something wrong. Hey, you know, please leave a thumbs up. Share. There's a share button down below. You can share this stream. Yeah. Click like, click share. Leave a comment. Yada, yada, yada. But Mr. Jono was supposed to come over here. Yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous. They cut him out, and I saw that recently. I watched the Home Alone. He's basically just walking through, and it was basically the kid, you know, is looking for something, and he asks Trump a question. Trump turns around, gives him the answer, and walks off. And it's like, oh, that's so offensive. What the fuck is happening? He's the president of the United States, elected by the people, through the system that's been set up and used for over 200 years. What is the problem? Get over it. This is what I mean. It's nonsense. And like I keep saying, there is a war going on in the United States. Right now, there just are no bullets being used. That's pretty much where it stands. And I do not see Trump being impeached. But if he is impeached, I dare say that the bullets might start flying. That there will be a civil war with bullets as opposed to without bullets. People are going to be pissed. I don't see it happening though. So, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so where am I at? What time is it here? Oh, you know, I didn't talk about this. Well, first of all, before I go on and change the subject, I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember Renee Richards, who was, let me see, I don't know what the difference is again. I got to remember here. Renee Richards was a transsexual. A person who emotionally and psychologically feels they belong to the opposite sex. Okay. Denoting or relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender does not correspond with their birth sex. Well, to me, that's the same thing. Well, anyway, Renee Richards, when I heard of that, I was like, what the hell? I was a young kid then. Widely known following male to female sex reassignment surgery, which she fought to compete as a woman in the 1976 U.S. Open. Now, it says that Renee Richards was married. Well, where's that at? What the hell is that? Oh, illness status. Does it say here? Oh, Richards married model Barbara Mole in June 1970, and they had a son in 1972. They were divorced in 1975. Oh, okay. So apparently they had a kid together, and then after they had the kid, he went through a sex change. What was his name? They don't even have his old name, or what was it? Oh, Richard Raskin. Okay. It's all so confusing. I don't want to change. I'm old and I'm set in my ways, and I don't want to change. I have no problem with somebody being what they want, because they should have the freedom to choose. But let's say it again. I do have a problem when they start trying to, when they get put in positions where they're dealing with young, impressionable children. I do have a problem with that. That is very irritating, frustrating, and more importantly, I don't think it's good for the kids. Gennaro, please don't even try to enlighten me, because you know what? I don't care enough to learn. I'll be honest. I don't give a shit enough about learning this. You need to be a freaking doctor about genders to understand all this stuff. And I'm not a doctor, and I never will be, and I don't really give a shit. You know, you want to be what you want to be. You want to be called, listen, like I said, you want to be called Tina and your name was John? That's fine with me. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, this is the thing. People starting to show up here at the mall. The photo shoot was quite good, Gennaro. Thank you for asking. Mr. Jono has been a little bit busy lately. But supposedly today I'll get some of the portraits. I posed in different outfits. I did actually. I brought, a suit. I brought a jacket. I brought a couple different shirts. I brought my photography vest. I brought all kinds of stuff. Speaking of photography, with any luck, Gennaro, March 1st, my stuff goes on sale. I'm not sure exactly where yet. They haven't got all the contracts signed and all that kind of stuff, but that should happen, so I'm very happy about that. But for right now, I'm still trying to get back to Hong Kong, and there's a lot going on there. Oh, I don't have the thing in there. Let me see here. I better put this in here. I better. There we go. So yeah, that's what's going on with the transgender stuff. Now, I was hoping that I would hear from Longhorns here, because last night I was laying in bed, and as I do at night, and I started watching some Bonanza because of the fact that Longhorns is talking about. Yeah, well, hopefully that'll happen, Gennaro. It'll happen and everything will come off. But I'll let everybody know more as soon as I know more. But yesterday I had a long talk with the guy that I deal with, and yeah, hopefully all of March, at least, the stuff will be selling for at least a month. My battery's getting ready to go dead on this computer, but that's okay. Anyway, I was talking, Longhorns was talking about watching Bonanza, and I thought, I used to like that show, and I tried watching Bonanza, and I tried watching Big Valley, and Big Valley just doesn't cut it. Bonanza was quite good, and if I remember correctly, it ran for like 16 years. Let me see. I think it was 1959 to 1975. You look up Bonanza and they got all kinds of this. Everybody's taken the name. "14 seasons, 431 episodes." Oh, it was 1959 to 1973. I didn't know Tim Matheson was in Bonanza. Wow. Anyway, I was watching it yesterday, and I was watching the first season, and I wanted to bring up a couple of things that maybe Longhorns didn't know, or maybe he does know. Bonanza. Little Joe has a different mother from Hoss and Adam, and his mother was apparently a hooker in the old quarter in New Orleans. But her husband, Paul, Lauren Green, loved her very much and said she had nothing but great things to say about her. But yeah, apparently he met her she had a sordid past. And Hoss and Adam were from a different mother. Now, I'm not sure, but I believe season 1, if you look for it online now on YouTube, the music, well, first of all, I believe it used to be black and white. Now, it's colorized. They colorized it. And you can see that in the coloring. It's not quite the brilliant color that the later shows had, but the music, dun 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 dun, that music, that was not used in the first season. They had different music, and it was nowhere near as good as the newer music. Also, did you know that there were different sheriffs in Virginia City? The one who I became accustomed to, I think his name was Roy. He was the older guy with the little gray mustache. Anyway, those are some interesting facts. At least they were interesting to me. I thought they were pretty cool. But like I said, I watched the Big Valley. And I couldn't even make it through a whole episode. I went, listen, I'm sorry, but the Cartwrights, they're at a different level than the Barclays, So if you're gonna watch them, I highly suggest watching Bonanza as opposed to Big Valley. Now there was Linda Evans was young and was gorgeous back in those days. Yeah, well, it was they didn't want to. That was when they were all getting shanghaied. that episode, season 1, episode 24. Some of their men got shanghaied. They were on their getting ready to get shipped off to Shanghai, and then they started talking about. Or wait a minute, this was in San Francisco, but they were. Let me think of this. They were in San Francisco. Was this the same one? I can't remember. I've watched about 5 of them in the last 2 days. Going down in New Orleans? Maybe. Might have been. I don't know. Anyway, one of those shows. But the thing about his mother came up. Now, they didn't go to New Orleans. He was in San Francisco, and this guy had tracked him. That's what it was. It was called The Stranger. No. Unspoken. Now, if you really want one, what's the one that Chuck Connor was in? Since we're talking about trivia here. Chuck Connor, I think it was The Rifleman or something like that. Yeah, The Rifleman. Now, anybody worth their salt knows that Chuck Connor was a baseball player for the Dodgers. If you don't know that, you know it now. Anyway, I don't know how we got on this. I was going to talk about that in the very beginning, and I was hoping that Longhorns would at least acknowledge it and be heard. Because he'll give you his Texan take on Bonanza. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Getting back to the whole... Now, not that there's anything wrong with that. Now, what I don't understand is when the guys, they're very clearly men. They're dressed as men. They look like men. And yet they got makeup all over them. They got fingernails painted. They got makeup. They got lipstick on. They got rouge on. And yet they are a man. I don't understand it. I mean, what happened to just the men were men and the women were women? What happened to that? I mean, not that there's anything wrong with the other way, but in my day, I could always fall back on that. In my day when I was young, I don't remember any, I definitely don't remember any transgender, transsexual, binary, quaternary. I don't remember any of these kind of things. I don't even remember there being anybody gay in my school. Now, granted, I graduated in 1980. So it's been quite some time. But I don't remember not even a whiff, not even a hint of this. So while it's okay, I don't think there's anything wrong with, whatever you do behind closed doors, that's your business. As long as you're not like, 2 dudes, sitting in the park blowing each other. Just as I wouldn't want to see a man and a woman going at it right on the, on it. I just don't want to see it. It's in the Starbucks water, I guess. Well, I guess Jono's not going to show up, or if he is, he's going to show up late. Usually he would let me know or send me a message, or he'll send me a message he's not going to show up or whatever. But who knows? Maybe he went out and had a long night. I don't know. I'm sure I'll talk to him later today. I wonder what it is. I didn't know that about Charlie Pride either. I wonder what it is that I've tried to figure it out. Why are there so many lady boys here or feminine men here? Why? So rude. You know, I used to think maybe they put something in the water to pacify the masses. Maybe it's because of the tolerance. But I got something to tell you. While people are tolerant, if you ask them about it, if you ask the women about, you know, why are there so many females, effeminate men here, they'll be like, yeah, you know, like a lot of the girls will just flat out say, yeah, I want a man, you know. They don't like it. It's fashionably late because they want to make money from tourists. Yeah, right. Well, that's a good answer. Like they all work with tourists? I mean, seriously, dude. Get your brain cells in line. Say I can't get... Can I get an order fix? Not without a note. Hell no. Oh, God. Fidelity, what's happening? Oh, man. Now, imagine, I mean, you know, like, I will say this. You know, I gave you a hard time, but there are actually some men here who become ladyboys, and they do it with the express purpose of going into the sex industry so that they can make money. But they are few and far between. The percentage of the, at least from what I've seen and what I know, which, okay, I don't know much. This is not my area of expertise, you know, nor do I want it to be. I know a guy, I'm going to tell a story. It's story time. It's straight guy, heterosexual male story time. I had a couple of buddies that stayed with me in Thailand many years ago, in Bangkok. I used to have this big place right next to Soi One. Well, that's what I say, Bruce. I don't get it. To me, that is abhorrent. I think it's just the thought of it's like, makes me cringe. So that's one thing. But anyway, let me get to the story because I don't want to forget this. I had two guys. Now, there were two guys. One of them I had met before. I met him in a bar I was with a buddy. Now, these are all straight men. We're all straight. At least the guy I met was straight. My friend was straight. I'm straight. And at the time, I think we were all unattached. We didn't have any. So we went out one night and we were just getting shit-faced. We went out, we were drinking and partying and stuff. We go to this little bar where this guy was working. He was the bartender. I vaguely remembered him. Years later, my buddy, who was one of the guys who prompted me to come to Thailand, to move to Thailand, he contacted me and said, listen, I got two friends. You know one of them. They're going to come over to Bangkok. Would you show them around? I said, yeah, sure. No problem. I'll show them around. He says, well, you know, you got a big place there, right? I said, yeah. Got a big place. All right, you know. I had a nice sized 2-bedroom with a huge balcony, big kitchen. And it was right down the street from Nana Plaza. I was like, yeah, okay, they can stay with me. I got an extra bedroom. They're gonna have to figure everything out. One of them could sleep on the couch or something. So they come. I hang out with them at night, have a good time, you know, have a couple drinks, go out. And so the one guy, he's a party animal. He and I got along great. The other guy was a bit older, and he was not such a party animal. He was the kind of guy, you go out and have 1 drink, 2 drinks, that was it. And he was married, but apparently, which I did not know at the time, he was on the outs with the wife. So I continue to go out with these guys. They don't like each other. In fact, they kind of despise each other. Once they started to get to know each other, they were like, ugh. Now I'm going out with the one guy. We're having a good time. We're partying. I'm telling the other guy, hey, listen, you want, go out, man. You know, I mean, like, we'll have some fun. No. I'll just stay here if that's all right. I said, yeah, stay. So then they started fighting about who's going to sleep in the bed. I've been sleeping on the sofa for 3 days. How about you let me have the bed for 3 days? You know, that kind of thing. Finally, the older guy goes, I'm going to move out. I'm going to leave. I'm going to still be here for another couple weeks. I'm going to go get a hotel. I said, yeah, okay, whatever. Didn't see him for the rest of the trip. In the meantime, the guy I was hanging out with, he and I would go out and party. We'd have a good time. Now, one night he went out, and he comes back, and he's inebriated, completely shit-faced. He falls, he's stumbling all around my apartment. I can hear him. He stumbles into bed. The next morning, I'm up, I'm doing things, and then all of a sudden, I see the door opens, and he's fanning my sheets. He's got my sheets from his bed, and he's fanning them. Got the window open, and I'm like, what the hell? He had peed in the bed because he was so drunk, pissed all over the bed. I'm like, oh shit. But he was a nice guy, and I was like, hey, you know what? Shit happens, just clean it up. And I was like, yeah, whatever. So he ends up having a good time. He goes back home. I don't hear from this one guy again for quite some time. I start getting emails from him. These little, joke emails that he's sending out to 500 of his friends. Finally, I tell him, hey, dude, why don't we meet up? He's like, well, I'm out in Pattaya. And I said, well, why don't you come to Bangkok? I'll put you up for a night. And, we'll go out and talk about what's happening. And he had decided to move to Thailand. Divorced his wife, moved to Thailand. And he's like, I can't come to Bangkok. Why not? He said, I'm busy in the middle of a project. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You're retired. You're not a photographer. What the hell are you doing? He wouldn't tell me. I'm like, okay. He's like, why don't you come to Pattaya? This is years ago. Probably 20 years ago. It's like a Jono joke. Anyway, don't get me off track here. So I say to the guy, okay, I'll come down. You meet me, let me know where you want to meet, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. He gives me the name of this little ratty bar. It's on like 2nd Street or whatever. It's like 2 streets over from Main Street, like Walking Street. So I'm like, okay. I take a bus. I take the Song Tao. I get over and I'm like, all right, where's this place at? And I go in. And I told this story before to some people, but not to. I don't think I've told it online very often, at least. And I'm looking for this little bar, and I'm like, where is this? So I'm asking the Thais, where's this bar at? They tell me, oh yeah, it's over here. Very small. I said, okay. So I finally see this sign, and it's the name of the place, which I don't even remember the name of it now. I walk in. And I see him sitting there, and he's facing the street. So I'm walking in. It's like there's just an open area. And I see him. It's just a little, like, square room. He's sitting there, and I see the back of this chick. And I see him, and he's, hey, what's up, I go, okay, well, I'm here. I walk over. I see him. Hey, what's happening, dude? Shake his hand. I turn. I look. Hi, I'm Angela. I go, what the fuck? Like a deep voice, the whole thing, all made up. And I look at him. He goes, this is Angela. She's my friend. Nice to meet you, Angela. Sit there, have a few drinks with him. I go back to Bangkok. Now my wife knows this guy, or knew him. Knew his wife. We all went out together and had food and, you know, had a good time. So I come home, I tell her, you wouldn't believe this. She's like, what, really? Oh, but, you know, all right, whatever, no big deal. And I'm like, I never knew. So I call my buddy up, the one who introduced us. And I say, did you know about this? What's going on? He goes, oh, I didn't tell you? No, you didn't tell me. I would have remembered this. Because, you know, I don't really hang in these kind of circles where I'm hanging out with people who are going out with their lady boy of the night or whatever. I'm like, you didn't tell me. He goes, oh, I forgot. He goes, well, what happened was when I had my girlfriend, she and I would go over to his house, his house and the wife's house. He'd go over to their house to house sit, and he goes, you know, we'd feel a little frisky and we'd go in, and these are the days of VHS when he was doing this. He said, we go in and we see all these tapes in the drawer, and so we'd want to watch a movie or whatever, and we'd see, you know, did they have any porn, and lo and behold, there was some porn. He goes, we pop in a video, start watching it, next thing you know, we see some thing with tits, and it's got male parts, and he goes, man, what, maybe it's just, you know, this tape. He puts in a couple more tapes. They're all like that. He doesn't say a word to the guy, but he knows. He's into it. You know, he's into that thing. I said, okay, whatever, you know. So then I find out, I don't say another word to the guy about it. I never gave him a hard time. I never said one word about it. I just said, hey, nice to meet you. I'll see you later, you know, to the Angela. I come back to Bangkok. The guy never contacted me again. Never talked to me again. Nothing. So maybe he could see the shock in my eyes when I went, Angela. Oh, nice to meet you, Angela. You know. But then I found out later on that he actually, this is when digital cameras were just starting to get big. He had I think it was a G5, Canon G5. And he told me, oh, you know, right now what I'm doing is the project that I'm working on. When I was sitting there talking to him, he goes, the project I'm working on is, I know a lot of ladyboys. And I said, well, how did that happen? He just goes, they're my friends. Yeah, I remember that show. Bob Conrad. What was the guy's name? I forget the other guy. And he told me that what he was doing was he had a guy writing about the lives of the ladyboys. And then what he would do, he would take them over to his apartment. Who knows what he would do, but he put up a backdrop, got a couple little lights, and he photographed them with the little Canon G5. And then they made a book together. I don't know the name of the book. I'm not going to name names or anything like that. I'm not going to put a link to it. But that was my experience with, you know, I mean, I didn't have anything against the person. It was just a shock to me. And, you know, like if he had said, listen, let's go out to dinner or something like that, I would have been like, okay, let's go. You know, like, I don't have a problem with it. If somebody else has a problem with it, it's their problem, not mine. You know. But he never contacted me again, ever. Never. And I was like, I'm not going to go hunting him down. I mean, you know, it's like, I barely know the guy. Yeah, so that was my experience with Angela, his new lady friend. Now imagine, yeah, I used to like that show. Now imagine this though. You come to Thailand, you meet Angie or one of her friends, and you're like, hey, they're good fun. And you don't even really know. You're not even sure. You think they kind of look a little strange and they talk funny. But you're just like, oh, nice girl. And then you get intimate, you do your thing, you have a little fun, and you're like, oh, things are not as they seem. But you're like, she was a lot of fun. And you don't, and you know, you're the kind of guy, and you just go, I don't really care. It doesn't matter. You know, hey, whatever. And then you decide you want to be with this person forever, and you're bringing this person home, whatever you want to call him. You're bringing him home, and you've got this conservative religious family. And you're like, oh, this is Ange. We're in love, we're getting married. Can you imagine the shock? And I think that people will never get used to this. I'm sorry. People will never, ever, ever get used to it. They're just not going to. They're not going to accept it. I don't accept it. I accept the people having the right to choose who and what they want to do with themselves and how they want to live their lives. I accept that. Aside from that, I don't accept anything. Oh, Jesus, enough about badass Robert Conrad. Yes, he was a studly dude. Yes, okay. Isn't that special? Let's see if this works real quick here. Oh, it does. Oh, New Orleans police issue warrant for Odell Beckham. Sexual battery for slapping a police officer on the butt after LSU's championship. Oh, man. This is too much. Anyway. The world is in a strange place now. If you want to remember anything, remember that the world is in a strange place. And I'm sure I'll get lots of hate for this video, and I really don't care. Honestly, I don't care. Because, you know, what are you gonna do? You know, I'm not saying that, you know, you should vilify people or anything like that. I'm just saying I don't understand it. I don't agree with it, and I certainly don't agree with drag queens or any of the what most people would consider normal. I don't consider people who aren't normal going in, placing their confusing gender values or whatever you want to call it up onto young kids. Yes, that's a good way of putting it there, Mr. Mitch. These are challenging times, and normally I wouldn't talk about it, but you know what? I know it riles people up. I know it's a controversial subject, and I feel like somebody's got to talk about it at some point. Who knows? Maybe 10 years down the line, you know, I will change my thinking. I don't think so, though. You know, I just don't think it's going to happen. Well, yeah, we're living in the Twilight Zone. And, you know, like I always say, people think, you know, we are, yes, we're animals, but we are, Ward, don't you think you're being a little hard on the beef? I love that one. You know, we act like we're all civilized and technologically advanced and this and that. The truth of the matter is we're a bunch of animals. We're savages. It's the truth. We're savages. Why do we feel the need to destroy everybody? If you disagree, which I disagreed with people who are that out of the norm, communicating with impressionable children, and talking about sex ed when it seems to me that they are very unclear of their own sexuality. I disagree with that. It's my prerogative to disagree. You know, now if you were in China, you might not have that prerogative. You might not be able to disagree. So, oh yeah, I like Susan Day. She was a hottie, and she was a hottie in LA Law. She was all right. I liked her. You know, with the ba 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 ba. What's that song? Oh, that was David Cassidy and the Partridge Family. I Think I Love You. Yeah, I still remember that. And the Monkees. We're talking about TV trivia now. It has come to my attention that some people have said to me, "Oh, your streams are too long." So what I may do is I might start time coding the streams with the subject matter. It's a little difficult to do, but I may start trying to do that, make it easier for some people to watch. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed Jono's not here. He's gonna show up at like 12:30. Where are you? Or either that or he's hungover and he ain't out of bed, believe me. That could be too. Danny is probably the worst out of the lot. And you like him? You got the crush on him? Oh, yeah. Him and, didn't he get into the celebrity boxing? And he's had like 14 wives and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, Hong Kong has been relatively quiet aside from some political movement that's going on and some of the things that the people in the local areas are, the information they're putting out there. There's a guy that they're speculating that, was pushed out of a window by the police. There's all kinds of conspiracy theories going on. I don't know what the truth is about it. Yeah, I know, but I've never listened to him or anything like that. But I know he was, he got into a lot of trouble, and I think he's settled down now. But I don't know how many marriages he's had, but it took him a long time to get there. I understand, Mr. Mitch. If anything, believe me, I understand that you probably don't have a crush on Danny Bonaducci. Although, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's up to you, man. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theories going around right now in Hong Kong about this one particular person who was shoved out of a window or fell out of a window, and it was very difficult to get through there. And why did this person go out this window if he was committing suicide? And then there's a big event coming up this weekend where they're marching on Hong Kong Island. It's supposed to be fairly large. Now, if you were watching the other day, you might remember me saying they had applied for a letter of no objection, which means that basically they can legally march. And what that does is it gets the more mainstream people to come out. And they will march also because they know that they don't have to worry about getting arrested. The chance is much less to be arrested. However, what happens is the Hong Kong police, there is always some reason why they end up firing tear gas and those kind of things at these events. Now, for this particular march, which I think was the March Against Communism, they denied the letter of no objection. And so anybody marching is basically in violation of the law. So this weekend, I suspect a few hundred people will be arrested. It's going to get a little crazy. But there is some action going on behind the scenes and also out in public where the government, the local government, is trying to get, and the courts are trying to get the Hong Kong government to abide by the law, or what they believe is their interpretation of the law. So this year promises to be interesting. Deontay Wilder did that? That's so funny. I'll have to watch that. I've said this before, but I shot Deontay Wilder in the Beijing Olympics, and he was really cool to me. You know, I mean, I went in and I was like, damn, he's really tall, and he was leaner, he's thinner than he is now. He wasn't quite as big, as filled out. And he told me about his daughter. His daughter, I forget what she has, but she's what's the phrase? I don't want to say disabled. She has some illness or some affliction, something like that. He never really wanted to be a fighter, but he knew he could fight, so that's why he started fighting. And for him to be where he is now is a pretty big accomplishment. But he is fighting Tyson Fury again next month, which will be interesting to see, because you know, he was losing pretty much every round of his last fight with Ortiz. He wasn't really doing well. He was getting outboxed, which that happens to him. But what he does is what professional fighters do, is they set up the big shot. They're not there to land points like in Olympic boxing. They're not there to tap, 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 and every little tap you score the points. Although, you know, there are fighters like that, but for the most part, when you get in the ring in the pro ranks, it's to hurt the person. You want to disable them and stop them from continuing the fight. You're not there to just tap away for 3 rounds and move on. Oh, I just got followed by a tequila brand. That's nice. Always like that. But he was a good guy. He was a good guy. You know, when I met him, you know, I spent about, I don't know, 2 hours with him in a little gym, little tiny gym. It was just me and him, and then there was a lady there, young. Well, she was young then. I don't know how young she is now. She was the head of the boxing program or whatever. And she hung out for a few minutes and then she left, and it was just me and him in the gym. And I took a bunch of photos of him and stuff, and he went on to win a bronze medal. I think he was the only person who medaled in the Beijing Olympics. He was the only person who medaled for the United States, which was, it was considered their weakest showing ever. So, you know, anyway, that was interesting. But it's funny that he ate the chip. I got to eat that chip. And I've heard about the hot noodles. I saw some girl eating the hot noodles the other day. I'm going to have to check that out. So, yeah. That was funny. Guy walks by. Hello. Hey, hello, man. Whatever. Don't know him. You still get that once in a while here in Thailand, where because you are not Thai and they see you, they want to say hello, which is fine. And do they have anybody else working here right now? Oh. Yeah, well, Gennaro, if you look behind me, Gennaro, once Mr. Ken moves out of the way, you will see that Mild is now working. So I guess that's the roster. You got Ken, Mild, and Prel working today. So Gennaro, that should make you happy if you get to see her. I don't know where she's at right now. I'll move my head. She looks like she's ducking down or something. She doesn't want you to see her. She's shy. Or she's scared. I don't know which one. She's scared that Gennaro's going to come over her and come over to Thailand and stalk her. I'll stay out of the way, though. This way you can see her. Yeah, you're a new... Yeah, you sure you are. Zero tolerance, baby. Oh, it looks like traffic started moving. Wow, I was sitting there for about 30 minutes. Didn't move at all. Gennaro, are you still here? You're missing out again, buddy. I should also bring up, you know what, I haven't been bringing it up lately, but I should. Manscaped, they still save my balls. Manscaped.com, there's a link down in the description. Use the code Malin20, get 20% off. They got ball deodorant, ball freshener. They got great undies that save your balls. You need the right tools for your jewels. There she is right there, Mr. Gennaro. Use Manscaped. They also have the lawnmower so that you can trim wherever it needs to be trimmed. And they've got the nick your sack money back guarantee, so that's good also. Ow. I guess Gennaro's gone. Too bad, Gennaro. You're always missing out. He never comes in when they're working anymore. Or he comes in and he leaves. And then he misses out. You know, he's so excited about seeing them. Maybe I should ask her to wave to him. Maybe that'll wake him up. Anyway. That's the way it goes. I think I'm done here. This stream has run its course. It's reached the ocean. And we're just about done. So, thank you for joining me, everybody. Really appreciate it. Thank you to all the lurkers and all the trolls and everybody else. Really appreciate it. All your thumbs up matter. All your thumbs down matter. All your comments and criticism and constructive or not, it all matters. It's so important to me. It just makes me who I am today. But thank you for joining me, for spending 2 hours with me, or whatever, 2 minutes. Well, thank you very much, Lurker. So, thank you to all the Patreon patrons. All the members of my website. All this is possible. Just click down in the links below. Thank you to Richard, the PayPal contributors. Thank you to the Super Chats, which I didn't get any Super Chats today. What's going on? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to those who have purchased some of my products. I appreciate it. There's the GoFundMe link. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and I got all kinds of stuff planned for this coming month and the coming year. So, should be good fun. It was fairly fun last year. I think it'll be even more fun this year. So, until next time, that's all I got. See you later, alligator, choke D, all that good stuff. Jerk and my, which means good luck, see you later, arrivederci, and all that good stuff. All right?